so far. So a couple things. Today's actually going to be fairly short, unless we have a lot of questions. So what we're going to talk about today for our Training Tuesday is BidBuy. The BidBuy train environment has been updated to version 15, so that's great news. That's great. We really want you guys to be able to go out and start working in the new version so you feel comfortable once we go live. We added a new date for the BidBuy monthly training for version 15 in February. We're going to talk a little bit about updates to the job aids. And then a quick update on when we are going to go live. There's still some testing that's being done, but I can say we are very close to being able to give you guys an actual specific date. So like we've talked about, it will be going live for all agencies all at once. Once that go live date is determined, we will be going out and making sure that everybody knows. You will have plenty of notice. But once you do go log in on, say, on a Monday morning, for instance, that as soon as you log in, it will be that new version 15. Okay, so we don't want anybody to be freaked out or anything, but everybody's going to know well in advance when that's happening, and it will be happening very soon. And then we have kind of a ridiculous fun fact of the day. When I saw it, I laughed out loud, and normally when I actually laugh out loud, that means let's go ahead and use that one. All right, so first off, good news in terms of the training environment. So the train environment has been updated to version 15. If you haven't been in there in a while, the website is train.bidbuy.illinois.gov, and it mirrors the production environment, and I'm going to go out and show it to you here in just a second. The passwords for the training environment didn't change. So in the past, you might have had to change your production environment password because it's been 30 days. But if you haven't been in the train environment for a while, you may need to reset the password or utilize that login assistance. And if there are any issues with logging into the environment, please contact the stateuser.bidbuy@illinois.gov after you've utilized that login assistance. So let's go out and actually, I'm going to go out to the training environment so you guys can see. So train, this is what the training environment is going to look like. You can see where it says train across all the logos there. It looks very similar to our landing page for version 13. On the right-hand side up here, you click sign in. It's going to bring in a pop-up. Now, it's like I said, if you haven't been in the training environment for a while, you can go ahead and try what you are using in production, but you may need to use the login assistance. So login assistance is right here in the center. I click that. If I forgot my user ID, forgot user password, your user ID is going to default to your email address. So chances are that hasn't changed. But if you forgot your password, you can always click that, and then it's going to email you a temporary password to be able to go get into the system, and then you can change it. So as I log into Train here, it looks exactly like our version 15 production environment. The only difference is it says Train all over here. The color scheme, it's green here. In some of the other videos that we've done, there was like a purple kind of theme to some of where the organization is, etc. So now it's going to be green in the training environment, but we really want you guys to go out and start playing in the training environment, because that way you're not actually working on any specific procurement. You're not actually buying anything. It's just getting used to the workflow in that version 15. There will be a few more videos coming forth for, I'm going to do one tomorrow about, a small purchase in version 15. We'll do some of the different procurement methods, and they'll have some of those videos. But really the big takeaway is it is upgraded to the version 15. Go out and use that train environment. And then if you have any of those issues logging in, you can contact stateuser.bidbuy. But if it's just a matter of resetting a password, utilize that login assistance, and then chances are that's probably going to be what's going to happen most for most people, is because you haven't been in the training environment for a while. If you put in your production environment password, chances are that they aren't the same because you would have changed it in the past. So We have a date. February 13th is set for our monthly bid buy training. That's at the CDB Computer Lab at the Stratton Building in Springfield. This is really set up for those that are new to bid buy. However, if you need a refresher, or maybe you had you were initially trained in bid buy version 13 and your responsibilities changed and now you're back into doing some more procurement and bid buy related activities, feel free. We'd love to have you. But really what we're going to be covering is going to be the general navigation, just the general workflow in bid buy, and then releases off of masters and small purchases. With those small purchases, we keep an eye on really this is how you would within bid buy. We know that if you're doing an IFB and RFP, there's going to be different procurement requirements, different attachments. We have to follow the procurement code for those different procurement methods. However, the general workflow will be the same as a small purchase in that you're creating a requisition and then it converts to bid tab, purchase order. So really we as we're doing a small purchase in the bid by monthly training, we are also kind of being cognizant of, hey, this is how you would do an IFB, only there's just going to be some different requirements. So there is some space available. Email cpogs.training@illinois.gov to register. And I also did receive a last minute cancellation for tomorrow's training. I know it's kind of last minute, but if there's anybody that would like to make the training tomorrow, please go ahead and email cpogs.training@illinois.gov. So a quick note about job aids. So, we are always, if things change for our job aids, we always will need to make, little changes here and there. And I just want to make a note, as we go to version 15, you're going to see some new updated job aids. The changes are very minimal, but once we go to version 15, there's a couple little things that we need to change in order to specifically mirror version 15. And as we always remind everybody, check that version number on the bottom of the job aids. It says 20.1, 20.2, 20.3, if we made changes along the way, and to make sure that you're utilizing the most recent document. And so just for example, one of the things that you're going to see for essentially anything that is creating a requisition, right? So in the past, in version 13, you would go up here in this top left-hand corner and you would go to the documents, it would bring down a drop down, you would go documents, requisitions, and it would bring another drop down to the right, and it would say new. Now in version 15, there's a plus sign, you click the plus sign, and then you're going to be creating a requisition. So little things like that, nothing is going to be a big change for the job aids, but just so you know, we don't want to have that confusion where there is no documents and then I select documents, requisitions, new. It's just a slightly new process to start a requisition. So you will see new version numbers for IFB, RFP, small purchase, and so we make sure that you guys are utilizing the most recent job aids. And as I've said a few times, but it would be good to remind everybody, if you see something on the job aids that you potentially have a suggestion on how to make something clearer, we are always open to making those changes. I got a suggestion just the other day on a small purchase that I think is going to be, we're going to add a little bit of language just to make it clearer on when you would click your informal quote tabulation button, for instance. So little things like that. A lot of times, if I can, it's almost the what's the quote? You can't see the forest for the trees, right? So somebody who is coming in and looking at these for the first time, it could be helpful to provide some feedback on what we can do. Now, I will say it will be different if you have some sort of internal process at your agency that's specific to your agency. Now, we wouldn't be able to add those sorts of things, but if it's something that we can make clearer on these job aids, at the end of the day, that's why we made them, is we want to make your job easier and more effective and make sure that they are, that these things are being done in the correct way, so that, it cuts down on disapprovals and just overall resources. So if you do have something like that comes up, please let us know. And you can always email me at david.luttrell@illinois.gov. So that's our training environment. I highly suggest going out there and spend some time out there. Okay, so our ridiculous fun fact of the day. You guys, it's National Squirrel Appreciation Day. Normally, I like to add something in here that is actually relates to something. I think this is so ridiculous and so funny, I had to choose it. So today's fun fact of the day is let's appreciate those squirrels. Whether you think they're super cute and furry and fluffy or they are scourge of the earth, germ carrying bacteria varmints. Either way, today is National Squirrel Appreciation Day. So impress your coworkers with your knowledge about the squirrels. Do we have any questions? I know that it was pretty quick today, but we wanted to be able to provide some of that information about the training environment. Has there been any thought to adding a document history to point out the changes? That is, so internally we do, but mostly that's from more of an auditing standpoint, so we can document what changed when. And that's really kind of a part of what, I mean, I'll take that back to the group and maybe that's something that we would potentially have out there. But it's also as a part of when we change something, we're talking about it on these Tuesdays as well. But yeah, that might be something we might be able to look into. So that's a great question. I'll follow up and let you guys know maybe next week if that's something that we might end up doing, where we would actually post out the different versions. My worry there is that we would have too many documents out there. That way, if you log into our training resources page, not log in, but if you go to our training resources page, you can immediately see what you need to follow. But I'll follow up on that. That's a good question. I have another question here. Login to training environment different than bid by login. I can't seem to access. So yes, it would have, back when we had the training environment and the production environment, you would have had the login would have been the same. But as you've needed to change your password for the production environment, that bid by train environment didn't change. So that there's a potential, and actually more than likely, if you haven't changed your training environment login, that it would need to be, you need to change. It's asking me to register as a vendor. So if you clicked, let me go back to, so if I log out, so we'll go back to my just login page for the train environment. There's two options here. There is a register. So if this is just what, since this mirrors the production environment, this is what vendors are going to see too, is, hey, I need to register for bid buy, or I need to sign in. So if you select the sign in on the right hand side, you're going to have that same login password ID. And that's where I'm talking about, where you'll have something, most likely it's different than what's in your production environment, but it is whatever was in the train environment as of last week. You still have the same password. So we didn't change the passwords per se, but I just wanted to note that if it's been a while since you've been in the train environment, chances are you will have had to change your production environment login because of the security issues. Every 30 days you have to change your password. If you try to put in your most recent password, it's probably saying, hey, you have the wrong password. So go ahead and if you've forgotten your password, click that login assistance, select forgot password, and then once you put in your login ID, that's your email address, and then you select your email address. What it's going to do is send a temporary password to your email. Go out and grab that, and then log in, and then you'll be able to set your own password. If you do continue to have issues once you've tried that, and we are from our systems manager, username is the same for both. However, your password will be different. So if you've forgotten your train password, just go ahead and do that login assistance. That way you can go back in and set it. If you do have additional issues after you've done that login assistance, like I said earlier, contact that state user help desk at the stateuser.bidby@illinois.gov, which is in our slides here, which will be out there very shortly. So it was right here, this email. It's also on the BidBuy homepage as well. All right. Do we have any other questions? Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. If anything pops up, feel free to email me. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week, and we'll be in contact with you as soon as we have a actual go live date for you. And like I said, go out to that train environment and practice and get a better feel for it. That way, it'll make the transition into version 15 very easy. And appreciate those squirrels. Bye, everybody.